الحمد لله رب العالمين يا رب. اللهم اجعل أول هذا النهار صلاحا، وأوسطه فلاحا، وآخره نجاحا. اللهم بلغنا مما يرضيك أعمالنا، واشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ولي الصالحين، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده وحبيبه ورسوله. سيدي أبا القاسم يا رسول الله، صل عليك الله يعلم الهدى. وأشهد أنك بلغت الرسالة وأديت الأمانة ونصحت الأمة وكشفت الغمة وجاهدت لله حق جهاده. عباد الله، يقول الله تبارك وتعالى في محكم تنزيله: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear brothers and respected sisters, I greet you all with Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. All praise is due to Allah. We bear witness and we testify that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we bear witness and we testify that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is his messenger and his slave. All salawats and salams be upon our Prophet, upon his noble family, his righteous companions, and all those who follow his path to the last day. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, inshallah today we'll talk about this very, very important topic, and that is what destroys brotherhood in Islam. You know that we see a lot of people out there considering each other to be brothers. And by the way, when I say brotherhood, brotherhood is based, number one, on religion. Number two is family. You know, you've got a brother because you're from the same mother, it's based on blood. And you've got brothers based in humanity as well, because we're all mankind. كلكم من آدم وآدم من تراب. As our Prophet ﷺ said, all of you are from Adam, and Adam is from this earth. So in that sense, all human beings are brothers. In the other sense, when it comes to family, we have, brothers from the same mother, same family, same blood. But sometimes we see a lot of issues between brothers because of wealth, because of other issues. The main brotherhood is brotherhood that is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the topic that we're going to talk today, inshallah. If I talk about verses in the Holy Quran and hadith of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we won't be able to finish in hours just to mention the verses and the hadith of the Prophet alaihi wasallam. And you all know how important is when we love one another for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's what means brotherhood in Islam. There's no interest of this dunya whatsoever. You love one another only for the sake of Allah. You separate from each other only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, and He said, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ. All Muslims, believers are brothers in Islam. So this verse would have been enough for us to understand how important is brotherhood in Islam. And also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues by saying, فَأَصْلِحُوا بَيْنَ أَخَوَيْكُمْ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهِ. And He says, reconcile between your brothers and fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we know this, we talked about this. Another, just one verse and one hadith. Because if I mention all the verses and hadiths, I don't want to lose you. So إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ should be enough, one verse from the Holy Quran. The hadith that I decided to mention is the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that you cannot enter Jannah. You cannot enter paradise unless you become a total believer. You are a true believer, true mu'min, and you won't be able to be a true mu'min until when? Until you love each other. Number one, you won't be able to enter paradise until you're a true believer. And you won't be able to call yourself a true believer unless we love one another for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You remember? And this is connected to the last khutbah that we talked about. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. This is the principle of Islam. None of us will be true believers until we love for our brother what we love for ourselves. So we know that brotherhood is very important in Islam, but what destroys brotherhood in Islam? And this is a very important topic. This is a very important topic. Number one, that there are so many reasons out there, but I just want to mention a few of those reasons. And inshallah, I want you to remember a few of those reasons, and inshallah, convey this message to your friends, to your loved ones. That in order to consider someone a brother, there are certain things that we have to be careful. Number one is bad intentions. You know what bad intentions? That means that you want to be close to someone, not for the sake of Allah. You know, all of a sudden, sometimes you feel this guy is coming to you and he respects you, and you say, oh my God, where's this guy coming from? But he's got some kind of interest. That's why he wants to be close to you. And that brotherhood won't last for too long. Because as soon as he gets what he wants from you, he will stay away from you. And you say, this was so close to me, this person. And all of a sudden, overnight, he's nowhere to be found. He's not that brother that when I called him, he used to answer my calls. He's not there anymore. And that's when you start that brotherhood, that friendship with bad intentions. And that's why all these friendships and brotherhoods are not lasting for too long. Yeah? Number one is because the way that brotherhood started was with ill intentions. It wasn't for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It didn't start in the mosque. It didn't start in good places. And that's why it will end the way that it started. Number two, in order to keep that brotherhood alive, we have to be careful from our sins. Because sins will destroy brotherhood. You know, in order for me to be, to love someone for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we know that we sin together or we sin separately, but we do not advise one another, and that brotherhood is based on falsehood. It's not for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You remember, if we love each other for the sake of Allah, we advise each other for the sake of Allah. When you see your brother is doing something wrong, intentionally or unintentionally, it's for us to go and advise that person. Not in front of people to embarrass him, not to try to put him down, but secretly. And wallahi, those people that advise you, those people that come to you in secret, and they tell you that you have done something wrong, remember that those people love you. Those people that pat your back and your shoulders when you commit a sin, and you say, don't worry, just continue. Wallahi, they are not your friends, they are not your brothers, they are your enemies. Because they want you to fail. They want you to go down. So when you go down, they want to laugh at you. So sins is one of the reasons that destroys brotherhood. my dear brothers and sisters. Number 3, and I talked about this the other day as well, empty discussions. You know, sometimes we debate, and that debate actually leads to nowhere. And we've seen this in a lot of occasions when, mashallah, 2 friends, 2 brothers for the sake of Allah, they engage in those empty debates, and the debate heats up and to the point that they're about to destroy that brotherhood. Stay away from those debates. You remember the hadith of our Prophet that talks about gender as well? Even when you're engaged in a debate, you know that what you're defending is 100% true, but you stay away from that debate so it does not escalate from being brothers not to become enemies. What Allah has prepared for you, a house in the middle of Jannah. You understand? Some people say, oh, this is very easy. Well, you think it's easy now, but when you're in that debate, knowing that what you're saying is 100% true, and what the other guy is saying is 100% false, it's not easy to back off. Especially if you're in front of other people. Because other people are going to say, you see this guy is weak. No. Wallahi, since, and it's been years, I started to follow this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Wallahi, it helped me a lot. And it will help you a lot as well. Every time you're in that heated debate, you know that it's going to escalate. And sometimes, when you're 2 brothers for the sake of Allah, sometimes you might be family friends at the same time. So when you have that heated debate and something goes wrong, it's not just you 2 anymore. Your families as well. Your kids maybe were going out together. Now because you 2 had that debate, both of you stubborn, both of you didn't remember the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and then both that friendship, that brotherhood, those 2 families are separated because one empty debate. And that debate maybe was about politics, maybe it was about something else, even if it's about religion. You be the man to say, it's okay. I agree, don't worry about it. Let's just stop here. Don't be the one to say, no, do you know who I am? Who are you? Who are you? So remember the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa. The other one that I've seen in our community here as well that destroys a lot of brotherhood, a lot of friendships is jealousy and envy. You know, we've seen this a lot, mashallah, as even Muslim community here, in the 60s and 70s and 80s, all of them were pretty much at the same level, maybe one house or something. When they started, their kids to grow up and, some have more than others, that's when the issue started. But when they were the same, they used to go out on barbecues, they used to, do things together because they're at the same level. When things start to get different, some have more than the others, that's when the issue started. And you can correct me, but you're the ones that told me, and this is the same with overseas. In my country before war, everyone was similar, no issues, no jealousy, because there's nothing to be jealous of. When the war finished, people started to go overseas and have different jobs and different wealth and whatnot. The jealousy started, and that destroyed a lot of families, that destroyed a lot of friendships, and that destroyed a lot of brotherhood among brothers. Why you're jealous? Why? If you're jealous of someone because Allah has given you more, that means that you're jealous and you're against the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the qadr of Allah is for that person to have that. Be content with what you have. Doesn't matter what that person, remember I told you last week, he might have something, you might have something that he doesn't have. Praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Say alhamdulillah for what I have. Be content. And this is very important. Once you start to, question things, why he's having this and I'm not having, and wallahi, some people go even further. people that pray 5 daily prayers, they say, SubhanAllah, you know, Imam, this guy is, you know, we used to be friends, but, you know, at least I'm praying 5 daily prayers, and he's not, and you see he's got more than I do. So he's trying to, Shaitan starts to get into him, whisper in his ears, to question even the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah protect us. Be content with what you have. Wallahi, what you have, Allah knows better. He knows you better than you know yourself. Maybe what you have is better. If Allah would give you more, maybe you wouldn't be in the mosque today. Do you know? How many people say, if I had this, if I had that? Allah knows. And Allah is not giving it to you because Allah loves you. If Allah would give you what Bill Gates have, or other people have, what would you be? Compare yourself with those people who are less fortunate. You know that people don't have even a roof over their heads. How many people, if you go into those stats, and to see how many people never driven a car in their lives, how many people don't have roof over their heads, how many people don't have families, they're not married, how many people don't have kids. And imagine if you tick all those boxes, wouldn't you say, Alhamdulillah? Wallahi, this is very, very important. Be content with whatever Allah has given you. The other one is dishonest competition. And this is also that affects our relationship with our brothers, with families, with people, with members of the community. You know, and this happened to me, wallahi, this is a true story. Sometimes when I go in a gathering, not with imams, because we're all the same, but with some business people, and you know, all they talk about is, I get this much a month, you know, I'm doing this, I'm building this much houses. And they're mentioning those things first, just to try to embarrass you, and towards the end they say, Imam, how about you? How much you get a month? So he mentioned everything what he does, what he gets, and then in the end he asks the guy, and he knows he's doing this on purpose. How about you, Imam? How much do you get? You understand? So this is dishonest competition and comparison, and this will affect the relationship, will affect the brotherhood. If Allah has given you more, say Alhamdulillah. Don't try to put down those people who are less fortunate, because Allah can take it from you anytime. You understand? How many people go to bed rich and they wake up poor? How many people go to bed poor and they wake up in the morning rich? Because Allah can change in a split of a second, can change your situation. If Allah has given you, say Alhamdulillah. Don't try to put other people down. And this is very, very important, my dear brothers and sisters. And that is also comes to another point, which when we try to make fun of each other. Fun of each other, not just when it comes to wealth, but even when it comes to appearance. Even when it comes to language. So big deal, you're born and raised here, and you speak perfect English, and the guy came from overseas, and you see his English, the way he talks, he's got an accent, he looks this short, or that big, or that tall, or this and that. Don't do that. Don't do that. That is not Islamic. That is not. How can you do this to your own brother that you consider you love him for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And when I say brotherhood, I'm talking about sisterhood as well. Same things apply to our sisters as well. Okay? And sisters maybe more. Because mashallah, they're the ones that, you know, they're more on the phones and more on debates and on all that stuff. No. Don't try to put each other down. And that is, you know, this is not one of the attributes of a good Muslim, of a good believer. You love each other for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Stay away from these things. What is the main thing that I have seen in our community that is keeping, or you know, the members of the community divided, is when we are divided into different groups, different madhabs, different school of thoughts, different this, different that. You know, all these things that we know today, I am Hanafi, and he is Shafi'i, and he's Maliki. Alhamdulillah, we don't have those differences now. But let me tell you, 100 years ago, in Kaaba, in Mecca, you know, Shafi'is wouldn't pray behind the Hanafi Imam. The Hanafi Muslims wouldn't pray behind the Shafi'i Imam. This is in Mecca we're talking about. If you're Shafi'i, I wouldn't give my daughter to your son because you're Shafi'i and Hanafi. Because you're this method or that, that's how crazy it was, with all due respect. Alhamdulillah, that's not there anymore. I am Hanafi, you might be whatever school of thought you follow, they're all accepted, alhamdulillah. But now we have some other groups that we know of. These groups never existed in the past. With respect, I'm saying this. We have Jama'ah Tabligh. We never heard this name before. This started later on. We have Salafi, we have Wahhabi, we have Ikhwan al-Muslimin, we have this, we have that. And wallahi, in my humble opinion, these names and these terms are not from Islam, and they're not from Muslims. These terms are more from outside Islam to divide us. You're not Tabligh, and that's mean you're not qualified as a good Muslim. You're not Salafi, you're not Wahhabi from wherever they come from, and no. You're not this, no, you're Hanafi, you shouldn't have a madhab. SubhanAllah. Do you think you know Islam better than Abu Hanifa, better than Imam Shafi'i, Imam Malik, and Ahmad ibn Hanbal? You know what I read one day that fascinated me? This lady went to ask one Imam about a question in Islam, in the Quran. And the Imam answered this lady by saying, do you want me to tell you what Imam Shafi'i said? Or do you want me to go back and explain to you what the Quran said? You know what that lady said to him? No, tell me what Shafi'i said, because I know Shafi'i understood Quran better than you. So they neglect these great scholars, and they say, we want to go straight to the source. Yeah, I understand that, but do you think those people didn't go straight to the source? What I'm trying to say, whatever madhab you follow, that's fine with me. As long as that is accepted in Islam, under the umbrella of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, that's all I care about. Whether you call yourself Tablighi or you call yourself Wahhabi or this and that does not concern me. But don't let these things divide us. You understand? These are very important. Wallahi, and you see in social media, the way they insult each other, because you're from this group or you're from that group, to the point that they start, Jama'at al-Takfir, they go further, they say, no, you're not Muslim anymore. They think that Islam belongs to them, and they have the license to say whoever is Muslim and whoever is not a Muslim. Wallahi, that is a very dangerous thing. So don't let these groups divide us. You see here, alhamdulillah, and this is the beauty of Islam, wallahi. Don't go anywhere else, just inside this mosque. We have people from different backgrounds. Isn't that so? People that speak different languages. People that come from different countries, different status. You might be, God knows how much money you have, or you don't have anything. Inside here, we're the same. No one cares. We're all the same. We all pray the same stuff. I've seen, and I've been in some places of worship. I don't want to say the names, but you're not able to sit in the first row unless you have your name there, because they pay membership to have the, wallahi, this is true. I have seen that, and you can find that in Melbourne and everywhere. So that membership, the first row is 10,000. Second row is a bit cheaper. Depends how much money you have, that's where you're going to sit, premium package. This is Islam. You come early, you sit first row. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter who you are. So these are from Islam. We don't have to learn from other people, from human rights out there. Here, we learn from each other. We learn from our beautiful religion. So in order to consider excuse me, each other brothers in Islam, we have to defend one another. We have to protect one another. We shouldn't talk about each other behind their backs. If we love each other for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we shouldn't have any of those things that I mentioned. If you want that brotherhood to last in this world and the hereafter, if you want to be brotherhood only in this dunya, because there's some common interest involved, wallahi, that won't last long. And imagine what Allah told us in the Quran, how those people are going to complain about each other on the Day of Judgment. They used to be good friends here, but friends for wrong reasons. To do haram together, to do bad things together. On the Day of Judgment, what they will say, oh Allah, He's the one who picked me up. No, He's the one who called me first. He's the one who initiated this. He's the one who did this. No, we don't want that. We want to be brothers in this dunya and be brothers in the hereafter, inshallah. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those that we love, we respect, we advise one another only for His sake, Ya Rabbal Alamin. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those that whenever we advise each other, we advise with good intention, only for the sake of Allah, Ya Rabbal Alamin. To make us of those that were able to feed ourselves and our families with halal, and to stay away from haram, Ya Rabbal Alamin. To make us of those that Allah is pleased with us in this world and the next, Ya Rabbal Alamin. وقولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه سيستغفر الله إنه هو الغفور